Coming to you live from sunny Arizona. The Steve Root Show is now live.
$500, $600, $700, $800, $900, $1,100, $1,200. Yeah. Okay, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. All right. My exercise routine is done for the day. 1,200. Okay. Let's have a seat. Thank you, Steve. You're welcome, Steve. So a lot of stuff been going on. Sketchbook stuff. Did I show you this right here? Hand practice. You can never get too good at hands. Everyone knows that. And this is log 40. What is this? Log 40. Yeah, watercolor practice right here. After work, as some of you know, I watch a lot of art videos on YouTube. And some are astonishingly amateurish, like how to draw hair follicles or shoelaces. But there are some that are really good. In fact, there are some masters on that thing. But recently, there's this website called the Gamble Institute for Art or something like that, and they show all these incredible paintings from yesteryear in great detail. And so I took it upon myself, being me, to take pictures off the TV here. And believe me, these are incredibly helpful to me. In fact, I actually had one of those kind of revelations people hear about all the time, where they look at something and suddenly after a million years of not getting it, they suddenly get it. Get it? So let's take a look at some of the things I got here. These are watercolors here by Sargent. And what blew my mind is how incredible, this one's not simple, but the other ones are incredibly simple. It's scary simple. You just have to know to draw, like, have godlike abilities, and you're set. These are all close-ups here of the various Sargent watercolors. But when you look at these things on the TV as they're panning around, you notice that they're ultra simple. This is all the white of the paper here. You know, look at the hand. It's just incredible dexterity. I love it when they do close-ups. In focus. So hopefully these are in focus here. And it just, I tell you, I woke up the next day and I just kind of went at it. This is all the white of the paper. Look at how simple this is right here. Look at how simple that face is. But it's all about draftsmanship. This is all wet and wet. Otherwise it wouldn't be so blurry. So you flood the paper with water, as all of you know, you being experts out there in watercolor. And you apply the washes. Now the thing about watercolor is, it's the most elusive medium there is to try to master. In fact, I don't think there is any mastery, at least for me, but I've seen it in others. Sargent, for example, this is a master artist right here. And then, of course, Andrew Zorin, one we keep bringing up all the time, the Swedish painter. He actually started out in watercolor. And he used a lot of opaque watercolor, gouache, in his mixtures, and he was just phenomenal. Later on, he went oil painting, the oil painting route. Sargent did the opposite. He started with oils and then gravitated eventually to watercolor. You guys see that okay? I mean, look at this stuff. This is opaque stuff over a light brown wash. This is the wet and wet stuff right here that will come out different every time you see it. That such is the nature of water. Look at this right here. These are all transparent strokes with opaque strokes kind of plowed into it afterwards to give it dimension. It's insane how simple these are. So we're going to put these aside here. And, you know, you can see where I was doing my best to, generate the information that I learned from those videos into these sketches right here. And yes, I found them to be coming very, very simple, much more simple than it's been in the past when I would struggle endlessly with watercolor. Today's going to be inking day. And we had a couple guys that were kind enough and thorough enough and ambitious enough to send in their trials here, which I asked for last week on the live stream. This is from David Lindo. So check that out. We're going to pop this up on the screen so you can see a little better. But this is the old lady, according to what the famous artist did, and this is where they would leave it blank, pretty much, with an outline for people to try their hand at inking. And this guy did an exceptional job, every bit as good as any professional inker could have done here. So there's that one. This one is done by Brent from, with no last name. This one is also just excellent. So these guys must be pros, because otherwise it wouldn't look this good right here. You got those up there, Mr. Producer? Okay. And the final one is the most stylized of all. This is Joey right here. Joey, again, just first name. So you can see how stylized he made his version right here. But it was great to see these things coming in like that. We're going to try to do that every week. I'm going to try to give you guys an assignment based on what I'm doing here. And we're going to evaluate them when they come in, if and when they come in. Comments. We always want to read the comments, right? Got a whole bunch of comments here. Let's see. Let's cite some of the ones with the most things to say right here. Somebody loves the way I describe Kirby as a hyper-impressionist. My old friend Patrick Owsley wrote in. He lettered a lot of my work in the 2000s, I believe. One of them was the moth. And speaking of the moth, we're going to be bringing that back in the Chronicles of Nexus. So the oversized Nexus books that I'm working in now, you're going to see the moth return. Always love the moth. The story possibilities are truly endless with this character. This guy says he learned to draw by copying Kirby in grade school. Well, that sounds familiar. What else do we have here? Somebody's very appreciative of the fact that I still hand letter, which I accept the compliment. I'm totally set on keeping those traditions alive, as you'll see with this inking demonstration here. Well, this is a very kind comment here. One of the best parts of my weekend, watching the dude. This is what he says. I absolutely forget about the world and watch you create and critique for a while. So relaxing and informative. Well, if you get any better than that, let me know, because I've never heard it. Great lessons in design and black spotting. He mentions that Harold Foster, that did Prince Valiant, did a lot of his own coloring, which he did, for the most part. Yeah. They're still commenting about the hand sheets that I put together with a bunch of copies of hands in one big piece of paper. This is about the eye surgery that I just had. All these guys had prior eye surgery. That's why they wrote in, assuring me that it would it would mend itself in a week or so, and you'd be right back to normal. One thing that was interesting that I didn't know about was they mentioned how much more they could see color. Now that I had never been told before, so we'll see. My color sense is still pretty good. Let us read the stuff I'm hereby obligated to read right here. Oh, did I mention I'm Steve Rude? Yes, I am. How to Draw book. We have a How to Draw book coming up. It's a crowdfunder. And you can type in the link on your screen and pre-order today. Here's what they tell me about the book I'm supposed to write here. This is all about drawing the human figure accurately and simplified while covering other tricky areas for artists. Okay, well, I guess I have to own up to that. The How to Draw book will have a very small print run. This is important. So this book will sell out quickly. That's a guarantee. Barron's doing well with his, Mike Barron, the author of Nexus. Barron's Omnibus crowdfunder is now over $160,000. A little better than we've ever done. So congratulations to Barron. If fans use the discount code YouTube25 on our website, they get a 25% off of all Nexus Themes item on their purchase. Patreon, we got some new members here. This is always exciting. Nicholas Vinson is the first one we're going to mention here. Brandon Davis is second. Kent Plum, I prefer Peaches, but a podcast named Scooby-Doo. Walter White Jr., thanks Walter, and Clarence Santini the second. Well, from Steve Rude the first, I thank you very much for doing that. Last thing they mentioned here in this paper right here. The comic book industry doesn't pay enough to keep the lights on, so we thank our Patreon members for their support. And the funny thing is, most of us aren't even working for the industry anymore. We're off doing our own thing because the state of the business is just something we're not very happy with. Let's move aside these watercolors right here. And some of you have been asking how I've been doing on my new Nexus story right here. Return to Earth, Nexus number 3, oversized volume. This is page number 1. Lettering is pasted in after I get done lettering it. I originally had this page very complicated, and I just thought, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be keeping things simple, especially on the first page when you want to invite people to come in and not get a headache trying to read it. Let's go to page 2 right here. A lot of stuff going on here. Still a lot of whiteout areas like around here that I have to fix up. But that's, aside from a lot of little touch-ups here and there, that's what it looks like. This is where they return to Earth, by the way. And they're waiting at the Skyport Airport in New York. Here's page number 3. You can see these pages are quite big. They're the biggest I've ever used, but since this is an oversized volume of comic strips, I work big, and boy, it is so much fun. So this is all my own inking, and all my lettering, of course, is coming up. What do we have for page number 4 here? Oh, these crowd scenes, I tell you. So there you go. There you go for that. Black spotting is kept to a minimum. And what I do for that, to make sure I do it right, is, well, how about it? It happens to be right here. You saw the first, page number 6, which I haven't shown yet. I make little tiny Xeroxes of the page once it's outlined, and then that's when I can spot the blacks to see if they work right. You don't want to get too crowded. You don't want to suffocate the page with too much of anything. You want to have a very direct, simple read at first. And even though there's a lot of people that work very, very complicated, you can still keep things simple. I mean, if you want to know the greatest example of all time, look at the 1940s Prince Valiant. That is the ultimate. That is the ultimate achievement in comic strip art. Nobody will ever surpass him. So you might as well go to the best. So that's what I do. That's how I work out the blacks. It's very important to work out those things out before you go into it. Here's a page that doesn't have a number yet. This is page 5. No one has seen this page yet, except the Patreon guys. This is, this is so funny because I added so many little funny things in here based on my weird sense of humor that I kind of started laughing the whole time I was doing that. Page number 6. This is a tough one right here because I've got to invent the main villain for this book right here. And you can see he's pretty much blocked in right now with no actual specific features on him, nor the guys in the boardroom. But these are the bad guys, and eventually, when I get it worked out, we'll see those things in full black and white glory. By the way, I keep this Prince Valiant page handy right here to show me how brilliant it can all be done. If it looks simple, there's so much detail in here, it'll gag a horse, but it's all very smartly organized. And that's the difference. I mean, this thing could have 1,000 little things in there that would ruin it. You couldn't read it. This could have 1,000 things around the grass. You couldn't read it. This is a silhouette right here. This is a silhouette. These are open panels right here. This is very open. It's very easy to read, especially when you get color, and especially done by someone as talented as Foster. Ooh, let's put this stuff aside right here. When it comes to trying to invent characters, let's take a look over there at my animation board. That is about 1/10 of the drawings I've done so far to figure this bad guy out. Is it fun? It is. Let's just say that it's very challenging. Very, very. So on and on it goes. It's just endless. Because I haven't cracked it yet. It's very important that I keep going till I crack the code of this character. He's got to be memorable. He's got to be clear at a glance what he's all about. He can't look like somebody who's your favorite doctor or dentist. Well, dentist maybe, but he's a bad guy, so you got to make him look like that. So I think it's time to get into the inking right here. This time goes very fast. I'm trying to keep it under a half hour. Now, if we go over to my drawing table area right here, you can see that I do a little trick right here. I take some tape, and to prevent it from drying out, I put that tape over the top of it. See? We're going to start off the old lady with some practice strokes. I'm going to dip the pen, and I'm going to show you what some of these pen nibs do. I think this is a 108 Hunt, and that's something you can get a lot of really cursive, thick and thin kind of strokes going on. This is a, I have no idea what this is. This is a 290 Gelad. That's the kind that Alex Raymond used. It, of course, is cooperating when I need it to at the moment here. We've talked about how bad they make these things. Okay, now it's working right there. So that's a Hunt 290. I use a lot of that for Nexus. What else do we have here? We have a really stiff nib for those stiffs out there. This is a 102, which gives you nothing but the skinniest of lines. And then we have our various brushes. I want to show you something that I often rely on right here. Let me get my little my little ruler thing out here, my triangle. These marker pens are permanent. This is a Micron number 10, and they are something that I think everybody in the old days wish they had, but they don't. We have them, so take advantage of them. We are blessed to live in this day and age, in spite of all the weird things that we have or don't have, like traditional inking going on and real penciling on paper. So I'm going to leave that the way it is for right now. This is a 10 because it's, I use a 10 because it's kind of thick. Let me try using, and the brush is right here. This is a number 8 King Art brush. That's all. I don't do anything smaller than that because there's no reason to. This is another 8 that's a little bit frayed at the edges. So I use that for kind of massing in the blacks where I don't have to be that precise. So what are we going to do with this old lady here? Let's start off with a good old Gillot 290 here, and see if we can actually get something going. There we go. There's a thick and thin thing going on down there. All inkers rotate their page when they're working on this stuff. Those that have really good brush control would be using a brush right now, but they tend to use ones, as I've often mentioned, that are unnecessarily small. So our old lady is coming to life right here. This represents kind of half tones when I scratch a couple lines in there like that. In order to keep her hand out of, well, she's got to have that little frame device over there. So that's another thing about inking. And I think this is something that everyone's going to tell you that's an artist, which is slavishly following something when your instincts kind of direct you in a different place is less preferable than listening to yourself when it comes to you want to go left when the penciler went right. So just trust yourself and have a good time. It's art. I'm sure my hand's in the way here a little bit, but you know. So that's the way it's turning out for me so far. I don't know what's going on with his hair here, but I just kind of invented my own version of what I think it is. And that's something that all inkers also go through all the time is, what did he put down here? Is this a hand or is it a mitten? That kind of thing. Or as Toth once had to endure, is that a hand or a banana? Let's see if I can control this oval or this circle a little bit better here. I don't want to ruin Granny's fashion statement here. This is the same way you would letter the letter O. This is how I do it with. So this is very traditional comic book type inking. I actually have another one if we have time here, where let's fix this a little bit. Oh, there you go. See, every time. The old lady's hat. Well, since I know I'm gonna get my hand in the in the ink, I'm gonna do it upside down like this. I probably should be trying to dip this in the inkwell a little stronger. So I can get more ink out of the stroke here. Now this being wood, you can add textures to it if you want. You can put little things in there. And if you were to actually go out and study these little things like this, you would do a much better job. Oh, they're trying to fool me here. This is supposed to be a rose. Okay, let's see if I can do a rose here. There's Steve Rude's rose, without looking at the other one here. Oh, I see he adds, see, I'm not even looking at that as I work here, but it's interesting to see all these textures going on here. This is something, these freeform things like flowers, This is where you can really exploit your sense of design here. It's going to be surrounded by black, so one of the ways you could do it is ink around it first. Now this is not very well thought out here on this drawing, so I'm gonna try to make sense of it as something that's dimensional. Does Granny have a stem here, or is this all part of the tree limb here, or the branch? Well, there you go. I made sense of that, sort of. And then, see the boldness you can get out of that? Okay. So here's our old lady right here. We have to put a couple embellishments on here. By the way, you can freehand these things if you want. You just need a steady hand. Hold your breath. Get out the mouthwash so you don't offend anyone, and then go to town. So the first order of intelligence here, as any inker knows, is to dry this stuff. And that is why everyone on Earth comes equipped with, you know what. Do this not at your own peril. It has to be dry. That was exciting. Okay, now we're going to go in with brushwork right here. And we're going to grab, let's see. Let's grab the big worn out brush right here and see what we can do with it. Let's move our inking aside. I've actually labeled these S and F, skinny and fat. Don't ask me why I did that. I just know that some of this ink is supposed to be thick and the other is not thick. So let's get the brush warmed up here, if that's possible. You really should have one of those special things that prevent the thing from knocking over, but I don't have one. If I ever saw one, I think I'd have a good time buying one. I think it's kind of necessary. In my early days, I would look at people that did comic books, and I said, how do they do that? You can't do that with a brush. Let's see. Old lady's going to have, let's see, I think she needs to have a little bit of a style going on here. And these should indicate pretty much the direction that her hairstylist gives her. This is how you make highlights right here. See? Nothing to it. 40 years later, you might have it down. And this right here, this is a large area. And I think that by virtue of being large is going to have, he's large. She is going to have a larger highlight area. These things go, the hair goes over the ears, not on the ear, but around it. You see there's a little bit of ear showing there, see? This is all stuff you figure out when you're really doing a hardcore learning session here, which I know all of you are all about. Now, for those of you that want to do all the slick stuff right here, we can go in here and kind of tighten up some of these right here. I'm trying to get some really thin strokes here, and this brush is kind of reluctant to do that for me.
We just hit over 30 minutes.
Okay. Did you hear that, people? We just hit over 30 minutes. Little cast shadow in the nose there. Now that I look at this, I think I'm going to add a couple things right here to give it some rhythm. So, okay, old lady, this is going to be a thatched hat right here. I do believe that this is what inkers would tell you they like doing the most, is adding little things on their own, because everyone's going to do a little bit differently. And that's part of the fun of becoming someone that works with a brush and a pen. And by the way, it took me forever to figure out which one to use. I had absolutely no idea. I would kind of go back and forth between the two, thinking, which one do I use now? Granny's got a hat band up there. This can be all inked in black here. Pardon my sloppiness here, but like I said earlier, you can actually go in here without outlining something and just go in with a brush and outline it with the brush in just pure black. These are obviously daisies. No ladies are without daisies. We don't want a tangent going on here that looks kind of funny, so we're going to do a couple of these things right here. So there is the dude's old lady here. There's a lot you can add onto this right here. Oof. You know, for you guys that like to do this kind of stuff, that's always available right there. We're going over our allotted time, so let's keep this simple, really simple, and kind of call it around now. I was going to try to do a separate demo. Hard to get thin lines with this one. This brush is kind of shot for that kind of stuff.
We have a question by Mind Invader Comics.
Okay, we have Mind Invader Comics at our beck and phone call.
They ask, are there any tips on handling a pen? Is it the same as holding a pencil as far as the motion of the wrist?
To me, it is. You know, it's if you want to find an answer about how it feels, you just pick the tool up and you work with it, and you practice. You're always going to go through this funny learning curve thing with everything in life. That's just the way it works. Try to be patient, but if you're someone like me with no patience, you're just going to have to grin it and bear it. Nice to hear from a comic shop.
We have another question from Mark Jones. He asks if you use hot press or cold press hot or cold press paper for standard comics, and what about the painted covers?
Well, the painted covers are done on either illustration board or thick watercolor board, 300, 400 Strathmore or Fabriano. And then just regular illustration board. It only comes in one size and one thickness. The question was about, what was it? What was the first?
Your standard comics, do you use hot press?
Oh, it's always hot press. But it's a funny thing because there's a lot of different versions of hot press. DC used to have two kinds of paper they would send out. There was the stuff so slick you could skate on it, which I did not like. And then there would be something with a little bit of a tooth to it, as they call it. I don't know why they call it tooth. It's got a little texture on it, okay? And that's the stuff I prefer working with because it just feels right. You know, this is so much about feeling right about stuff. So we're going to sign our name to this right here. I'm sure there's little things I could do to touch it up, as I always seem to want to do. So we'll sign it S. Rude, and it is June 14th.
Yes.
Good for you, Steve. You're welcome, Steve. 2025. Maybe if we have time next week, and you guys really want to see more of this, we can do the second old lady, which is test number 2. And that's when I'm going to do a completely different style than the one you saw right here. This is a nice open style right here. There's nice thick and thin kind of brush stroke stuff going on here. I actually should have used the far better brush, where I could have gotten much better points. But you saw how I worked it, the 290 Gillot, which is a good overall thing. Hey, good for Alex Raymond. It's good for us. And then the brush right here, which is a King Art number 8 premium brush. These are the guys that stole my beloved Low Cornells from me, of which they'll never be forgiven. But I still have a couple around like this. They're probably blunted. I don't know if I can use them for inking, but maybe for filling in blacks, you never know. I think it is time to go back to push-ups and working my back. Unless there's anything else you want to chat about, I'll see you next week at the same time on Saturday. And Patreon members, thanks again for keeping up the good work and keeping us floating.
Is there any homework for people this week?
Homework for people this week. If there is one, I'm going to let them know online, okay? So that's going to be afterwards. The live stream ends here. Thanks for tuning in. See the difference? There's so many ways you can do it. Inking is fun. I'm glad you tuned in. See you next time.